It's your girl Nikita.
It's your girl Tash.
And you're listening to Two Chickpeas in a Podcast. I think we say every episode's really special, but today, honestly, really, really special.
Yes.
Sitting down with broadcaster, actor, poet, all-round super Asian superstar.
I have not heard that one before. Super Asian superstar.
It's just like the Beyonce song came in my head, like, what's Alien superstar, Asian superstar?
Yeah, that one's wicked. I'm going to take that one. It's not just superstar
it.
No more. It's
Take
super
it.
Asian superstar.
Yeah, no, you really are, though. You are all of these amazing things that I think make you a force to be reckoned with, especially within the, not just the South Asian community, because I hate to just keep people who are South Asian like in your little boxes,
Yeah.
but I think it's more the representation you have when you go onto other bigger platforms that are not South Asian. It's like I feel represented when I hear, see anything you do. It's a massive, like, I feel seen moment.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. I think that's the reason why I wanted to do everything that I'm kind of doing now. And I didn't know this, but back in like media studies, when I had a media studies teacher, she taught us this acronym, right, which was called RAIL. And this was in year 10 GCSE. And it was, R was for representation, A was for audience, I was for institution, and L was for language. And only recently has that started coming like back up for me to learn, because I'm like, what? This was so mad that I was learning about that during my GCSEs. And now in my career, I think about this thing like a lot. Like if I'm attaching myself to a project, if I'm doing anything, is like, am I representing correct? Is it for the right audience? What institution are we doing it? And how is the language going to connect with people? So
That's it.
yeah, I appreciate that.
Well done to your year 10 media studies
Yeah,
teacher.
let's big up Miss Bactis.
Yes,
because
Miss Bactis.
She was at Rutledge High School and she introduced media studies to us at a time when a lot of schools were not teaching media studies. And had she not done that, genuinely, hand on my heart, I don't think I'll be doing what I'm doing for a living today.
Interesting. That's so lovely.
She's a wicked teacher.
Not to segue too much away from, everything we want to talk about today, but I think what you said there is so important, especially in light of all the strikes and everything happening at the moment. All I think about, especially when it comes to teacher strikes, are the people that really influenced me in my life. And hearing you talk about your media teacher, you never forget your teachers ever, do you?
You never forget the good ones.
No.
You always remember the bad ones
Yeah.
or the ones that didn't believe in you. I remember I had a history teacher at sixth form and I came to parents' evening with my auntie and he turned around to my auntie and was like, oh, Mim's he's a dark horse. And my auntie don't understand what that means because she doesn't understand like terms or like phrases like that. So she comes home to me and she's like, what does he mean you're a dark horse? And I don't understand what he means because I'm not that smart enough to understand what he's saying. And I'm turning around and saying to her, I think what he means is that he didn't think I was clever. But then when I done my exam and I got like an A or a B, he's like, oh, he surprised me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it was that, yeah. But the good teachers, yeah, we need to big them up.
And what about yourself, though? Like, coming back to that feeling of you don't forget the bad ones. Do you feel like you've reached a point in your career where you're like, well, look at me now, guys?
I think it's dangerous to think like that, man. I'll be real. Like my head can be, my egos of we all got big egos, right, as human beings. But I think if you work in this industry, like your ego can be even more inflated and your sense of self can be so like expanded because you think you're better than other people because other people might not have got an opportunity that you got. So I swear to God, every day I try to tell myself it's all good. You're human. I got to train here. I'm like everyone else.
Blessed.
But that keeps me like
Yeah.
feet on the ground. Otherwise, I think it will get dangerous and it will just be like, I can't go to the shop. I can't go get 2 chicken and chips and wings from Boss Man. Because then it's like, well, who do you think you are? Like, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to like balance it.
I think that's why a lot of people can relate to you as well, because you're very approachable. Like we've seen you around so many times. And it's so nice we can just come up to you and be like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah,
You know
we
what I
bumped
mean?
into each other loads of places.
Lots.
Especially last year.
Last year,
a
so
few
much.
places, isn't it?
Where there was
So I remember seeing you at Snow Allegra.
yes.
Big up, see, he knows
Yeah.
the good music.
Yeah, obviously that was a sick concert.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
V&A,
Yeah,
dialed in.
dialed in at
Dialed
the
in.
DNA.
Big ups.
That was sick because that was so many brown people in the Victoria and Albert Museum.
Isn't it mad?
Playing the maddest music and the maddest tunes.
Yeah.
And I'm not lying. I was there and I was just like, yo, what has happened to the world? This is crazy. I never thought I'd ever experienced that.
That's
to
mad.
be able to see.
Yeah.
My brain is just like, yo.
Trust me, even me, what a moment. Like there was people, it was mainly brown people, but I saw a lot of other people around and I was just like, this is crazy. And they're all dancing and really appreciating the music as well. Just to like, it's just nice. And I felt like we were like the major focus of that night, of that event as well.
But it was nice, I think, for a lot of other people to see our culture, because I would say majority of brown people were there. So it was so nice. Like this girl we just met on the day and she just pulls out jalebis out of her bag.
Yeah. We're fully dancing and she's just like, hey, jalebi, like casually.
We're just dancing, eating jalebi.
That's what I love about that, because it's not just, you don't just make it like, oh, it's our thing and no one else can have it, but it's more of a thing. There were other ethnicities that were there. There were black people there, there were white people there, but enjoying that vibe.
Exactly,
which was like, this is like stuff that you can also enjoy.
I loved it. I remember seeing this black guy and he had his glasses on and he was proper like...
I think I'm thinking about the same guy, And I was just like, enjoy it, bro. Because, like, if we be real, like, that role has been reversed, right, over time. So, like, I feel like black culture has been mainstream and still is for the longest amount of time. But because we never saw ourselves, I can just only speak from my perspective. I looked at their culture in a way to be like, I fully have immersed myself in enjoying music, fashion, and all of that. Not in a way to appropriate it or anything, but being a South Londoner, that just naturally just kind of happened.
But I think there's also like a lot of similarities between black and South Asian culture. There's so many crossovers when it comes to like, I don't know, strictness of your parents or down to the food or down to how you treat your elders or positions and families. Like there's so much crossovers, I think. So agreed, I think there was something that was mainstream that, because South Asian anything wasn't mainstream to me growing up. So that's something I gravitated towards because like, oh, I can relate to that, or I can, I like that, or I relate to something. So I think
there's definitely a lot of crossovers. The immigrant experience is obviously like one of them, coming over from a different country. Religion also, like if your South Asian family members are like highly religious, I know people who have like highly strict like Christian parents set up in their household. So and culture as well, right?
But there is actually black and South Asian culture mixed in together. If you look at Trinidad and Tobago, you look at Guyana. So many and so much of their food as well. They have roti, chickpeas as well, batura.
Doubles is like a massive famous like Trini dish that you can go to Trinidad and eat all the time, but it's basically chana and roti, like what Asian people eat all the time anyway. So the parallels are like crazy, especially with that place, because so many people came over via India to come and set up shop over there. So it's really good. So
it's really nice that we have like a platform now and more events and things to go to where we can feel like we're seen, we're being celebrated. I think that's a big thing for me, because actually growing up I was, any of the songs we were dancing to at V&A, I would have been way too embarrassed to say I like that song.
Really?
Trust me, I was going for it. I knew like lyric by lyric. I was like, like it was so nice to see that other people were so into it as well. Do you remember the guy who was like fully dancing, fully like he was just going down low, up, down, and I was like, yes, I was here for it. Like
I'm with you, but there's still something that I think annoys me is when Punjabi MC comes on Monday on to Bachke.
That was the last song that played.
I know, right?
It's because it's a proper like kind of mainstream.
It's like for me, it's like the token song.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And anytime I hear it, it annoys me, and I can't explain it's because I feel like that's not the only song that belongs to this community.
Yeah, and I hear that.
So if somebody's doing a film or something or whatever, and then they come and
didn't
use that song.
Jay-Z did
he done a remix.
Yeah, he did a remix of it. I think that's why like they always play it, because they're like, oh, this is the tune. Like they think that's the staple tune.
But it's actually, like, it annoys me because it's like there's so many other artists and there's so much other music that is arguably now more timely than that, because that's backdated now. So we can't be in 2023 still banging that one South Asian song saying it's like the best one. There's so many more.
I think it's just the one that like no, the white people know. Like, that's just it. Like, they all know it. So that's why they play it. And like, not to say that, that's the right thing.
No, it's true. Yeah, it's true.
But that's what they recognize. And they always mimic the sound as well. And I'm like, okay, like, that's why,
But we've had films that have helped with that. So like patting, screwing the light bulb and patting the dog. That dance, that term for that dance that Asian people obviously do, which is Bhangra, is like, that's been made like that due to like films back in the day where people will laugh at it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it makes it like more, but we got to do more things that change that perception.
But I think even so, I say the reason I would have been too worried to sort of dance to these songs in front of my friends is because growing up I rejected my culture so much. There's so much around my culture. I saw a lot of the negatives, I think, growing up before I could see the beauty to it.
Yeah.
And I think not being able to do that in front of friends, I think now we just own it a bit more. Like now it's like you can't take the piss out of it. Like before I would let them because everyone would sort of do it, and even like Indians are in on it felt like we were in on the joke at the time, but I think we were just being really passive.
Yeah.
And now it's like, no, our culture's sick. Come.
Agreed.
Yeah.
See?
I got this memory of like me and one of my best friends, even to this day, I let him borrow my iPod Touch, and the iPod Touch back in the day, you had like all your music on there. So I let him borrow it, and I asked for it back, and he gave it back, and then you can see what
he listened to.
Yeah, you can see what's the top played song in it when it came back. And me and my friend, we've all grown up with like rap music, like R&B, hip hop, garage, grime being the main thing that we talk about, right? And he gives me back the iPod Touch, and I see Juggy D Saunier, like #1 tune that he's listened to. And I was like, yes, bro. But you don't need to tell anyone. But I know that you're listening to that. It was hilarious.
I love it.
I literally remember that now because that was just
what
like,
a tune.
That's a banger.
Yeah.
That is an absolute smash of a record, like hands down.
Coming also on music, I think we can't not talk about your time in radio. Bit of a hiatus at the moment? Or,
yeah, no, I'm not doing radio at the moment, but I stopped in like 2019.
Yeah.
But that's all I ever wanted to do, man. I studied broadcast journalism at Leeds Uni, done Leeds Student Radio, wanted to be on One Extra, was my dream. Managed to get Weekend Breakfast, thoroughly enjoyed it, loved it. Ended up becoming like repetitive and ended up becoming more like a job. When all I wanted to do was just to have fun and chase my passion. I didn't feel like I was growing as much as I could have. But it was sick. I think first South Asian like daytime presenter on a network, which is like, I look back at that now and I'm like, oh wow, okay, that's big.
That's massive. That's massive.
Yeah, that's huge.
I remember thinking so when I shadowed your show.
You did.
I know. I was like, he doesn't remember at all.
No, but you didn't do. You done Asian Network.
Asian Network,
You shadowed the debate show that we done on Asian Network.
It was in the evening.
Yeah. It was a Sheikh debate.
Yes.
That was like, I pitched them a show to do like a young person's debate show, and you was there. Yeah, I remember you came in.
Yes, I was there for about a month. I think it was like 2016 in like August or something.
How amazing.
Yeah, and I was there, and that's when I met you for the first time, and I was like, oh. So it's really nice to have you on the podcast now, because I have honestly really looked up to you ever since that time.
Oh, bless you, man.
And I think what was really cool for me as well is that you got One Extra too, not just Asian Network. Because for me, again, like One Extra was a station that I really identified with. Again,
all of us did.
Yeah.
Trust me. Like even like that's why when I was on Asian Network and they were annoyed at me because 70% of my music on the show that I'd play would be like non-Asian music, like not made by Asian artists or Asian sounding, and 30% would be Asian sounding. They'd pull me up and be like, that's too much. Like you need to like balance it out. And I'm like,
but that's what I listen to.
I'm like, bro, what do you think like British Asian people are listening to, bro? Like they're not listening to all of this Bollywood music.
Yeah.
The parents might be, but my show's for young people.
Yeah.
They're listening to music that gets played on One Extra, on Radio 1 and stuff like that.
So that's the part that you did that I really admired, because I feel like other people would have just come in and sort of given into that token or that box and been like, yeah, I'm going to play all the British Asian songs, only British Asian artists, where actually we're listening to everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's very much part of like who we are. And again, coming back to like the premise of our podcast about our experiences of being British Asian, like that is it. Like I grew up on like the Spice Girls, like Craig David.
So, I mean, Backstreet
like,
Boys.
Yeah.
Like, big fan. Boyzone.
Achilles.
All of these
Justin
people.
Timberlake, or everyone, Big Nas, B.I. Oh God, Big Nasty, B.I.G.
Notorious B.I.G.
It's just because I watched the show with him last night. Anyways, but that was everything to me, and it was really like, I love that you're just authentically yourself. And again, because there's been this like this, I don't know, in the industry so far, if you're Asian, then you could be like Asian. Do you know what I mean? Nothing British to you. You might be born and raised here, but be really, really Indian, or be really, really Pakistani or Bangladeshi, whatever it is. Just do that for the camera, and it's like, but that's not us.
Yeah. It's interesting what you're saying, because even with like this film, for example, right, that's coming out at the end of February, it's called What's Love Got to Do with It? British Pakistani film. Now, I got the role and I've got the lines in front of me and I'm looking at the sides, which are like the lines that you have, and I'm proper there like, okay, so if I've been given this opportunity now, how am I representing my character that I'm portraying? He's British, okay, cool. He's Pakistani, okay, cool. But in my head, something clicked where I was like, I need to make him a Londoner. Like, and I need to make him speak in a way that I speak, because we don't get that opportunity to be in mainstream film like that. So I was there thinking, oh no, maybe you should give him like a posh accent and he should be one of those like posh Asian boys. And then I was just like, nah. So the character is not really that far removed from who I am in the way that I speak, etc. Right? But that was a big thing for me, because I was like, you've been chosen to represent young British Pakistani men. So like, how are you gonna make this character now speak? So I tried to keep it as authentic as like a Londoner would speak, because we don't really get that opportunity.
I mean, I think that's really good. Like, why do you want to be something? I mean, obviously it's acting, right?
Acting, it's what I'm trying
still,
to say.
Yeah, it's acting great, but it's still like you want to bring a little bit of you, a piece of you to your character, right? And I think that's a great way. So you're saying you kind of are just kind of basically yourself in the well, no, as in
not
like
fully myself. What I'm saying is the way that I speak here, for example, and the way that
your dialect,
Farouk's accent in the film is like not that far removed from Mim's accent, but it was a conscious decision to do that. It wasn't like, oh, he doesn't know how to act. I fully can go and start speaking with a very posh accent and making people, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it weren't like that. It was like I needed to really just go in and try create as authentic as a character that I feel like I could have done.
And you must be so happy with that as well. Like
100%, yeah. When watching the film back, and I was like, yeah, I think I made a good decision.
Yeah, smashed it.
Not only because like when other young British like Asian men watch it and they speak in a certain dialect, or they'll be able to see themselves. So I was like, I tried to represent for them in it, yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
I think you did a good job. Like I saw the screening like over a year or something ago now, and it's the first time I really watched a film where I was like, oh, they have got it right. For the first time, the blend between like British and Asian culture is really there, and they've done it really, I think they've done it really well.
Liked it, yeah.
I loved it.
I remember you coming back and being like, yo, that was sick. So
there was so much I identified in it with myself, I suppose, but also again, there's just this balance of the British and Asian culture, family life, but it was funny, like and it wasn't like offensive funny either. Like you could laugh at these things because you're like, oh, that happens all the time, and that's why it's funny. And I'm really excited for audiences that maybe don't know so much about our culture to experience
I think you
that.
hit the nail on the head there, where it's like, because the writing is so smart, because it's written by somebody like Jemima, she's very intelligent and just an intrinsic smart writer, that when other people sometimes try to do comedy from a South Asian point of view, it comes, when I witness it, it's like, you're making other people laugh at the expense of us. So like Citizen Khan, for example, as a show I don't like.
Right.
Because I watch it and I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
That's just like
taking the piss.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like it's like the guy's praying and he falls over. It's just like it's silly, isn't it? It's like back in the day funny. Whereas this is not doing that. There's a level of like respect there and a level of sensitivity to someone's culture as well. Because I think when you come in and you write about a culture that you're not necessarily fully a part of and immersed in, you got to handle it with like proper sensitivity, which I think she's done, amazingly. So yeah, I like that point you made.
Yeah, and again, I think as well, because she's British Asian herself, like she lived in Pakistan, I think, for like 10 years and then came back to England. So she really understands like both cultures. And I think that really comes across in the film because you are here in London and then you do go to Pakistan, is it Lahore? Yeah. And you get both sides. And I think her experience of that is put in there.
Of course.
But because of that as well, like, I don't know, for us, like being born and raised here, I suppose you do get that sort of like link with your motherland, I suppose, like where it all came from for us, like the understanding we have. But it's nice that mass audience now is going to be able to
of course
understand that. Yeah
100%. Yeah, I agree.
What was it like working with such a stellar cast? Like you are among incredible talent.
Yeah, they're just like, it's like Oscar winners. And like my mum's growing up watching Shabana Azmi.
Yeah, that's so crazy. That is mad to me.
It's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah.
I took pictures with her and like showed my mum, and my mum was like, oh, I think she's processing it herself. I try to stay as professional as I can, obviously, and not geek out, but I was just learning, like very observant of like how people do things. Emma Thompson is an amazing performer.
Yeah.
She'll come in and it's just like, yeah, what about this? What about that? How about this? What about this one? You want to do this? Can we do one like this? I'm just like, legend.
Yeah.
I want to be like that when I'm older, like coming in and doing a scene. And yeah, even like Sajal, like she's like a huge Pakistani like actress. Seeing what she's like and her being like herself. Shazad, we met like before at a BAFTA party. First time working with him was sick. Lily, me and we didn't really have that many scenes. Everyone just like had their own vibe, you know.
Yeah.
Just trying to learn as much as I can on the job because I know these opportunities don't come around every day. So it's just like, let me soak up all this information.
I like that though, because like you said, it's learning, right? And you'll take that and you'll use that for your next experiences. Who knows? But just to be in the presence of such amazing talent, that's got to be like you said you trying to not geek out. I'll be like, bro, hey, I love you.
Yeah.
I'm the same. I'm like, if I see someone, it's like, how am I ever going to see you again? I have to tell you right now, I love you. Yeah.
No, it's true. You should do that.
Yeah.
There was parts of me where I was like trying to stay cool and just like, but inside I'm just like,
you're like, well, this is mad.
This is absolutely nuts.
Yeah. I'm not one for holding it in as well. Like I literally, neither are you. Like, I think we literally would have probably gone up to them and just been like,
hi,
hey,
you changed my life, by the way. Yeah.
Which you have done before. I love it.
Yeah. It's that whole giving people their flowers thing, isn't it?
True.
Yeah.
You should give them to people.
Absolutely.
I agree. You never know when you might never see them again.
Yeah. But the premise of the film is, I think, because obviously I haven't seen it, it's about someone who's getting an arranged marriage, an assisted marriage. And can you tell me a little bit more about the film? Because obviously, like, it sounds so interesting, and like the mix of cultures, I guess, it's kind of learning from British culture and kind of looking at Asian culture and how marriages are different, right?
What, specifically Pakistani culture?
Pakistani, which is quite important because a lot of the films that have been done in the past are from an Indian perspective.
Right.
So British Pakistani films is like, what, like 3 or 4 in total. East is East, My Pure Land, My Beautiful Laundrette, What's Love Got to Do with It Now? But yeah, it's main character, protagonist, Kaz, is getting an arranged marriage, like hooked up for him via his family, via his mum and dad. He is going through with the whole process. His friend is filming the whole thing, and she's a documentary filmmaker played by Lily James. And she's creating this whole thing. He ends up having feelings like for her, but he's also trying to balance like, my mum and dad want me to get an arranged marriage. Do I go and do the arranged marriage, or do I follow my heart maybe and go with a love marriage that I want to go with? So it's kind of seeing that unfold throughout the whole film.
Just so interesting, because I bet that happens in real life all the time.
All the time. This
Right?
is why I feel like when men watch this film, it's gonna evoke some emotion. I'm not even being funny. Like, the amount of stories I know about people, like, it's a big decision in your life. Like, as a man, like, who are you choosing as your partner? Do you do it for your family? Do you do it for you? Do you do it for whatever other reason? So that is kind of the things that
And I won't give too much away about what happens with the person who Kaz is being arranged to have a marriage with, but she has her own backstory in this, actually. I think you go into it watching it thinking like, yeah, she wants it, but actually she's got her own story and her own wants and her own needs. And I really like that you got that other perspective for her as well. It's not just like, it's a big decision in a man's life, but almost I think it's taken for granted if you're a woman, because so much throughout the history of time within South Asian culture, it's like, women don't have a voice, just do this, go ahead sort of thing. But I like that the film did also give her own backstory, her own voice, her own opinion.
I love that.
In this as well. I thought
like,
it was
like
done really well.
Yeah, like, rather than being timid,
Yeah.
the female was like empowered, which I think, is normalized now. But back then it wasn't normal, was it?
Yeah, and also I think it's because she's from Pakistan as well. And I think maybe there is this idea of people from there and what they're like and how vastly different, you know, we are compared to, I don't know, our relatives or people back home, and how we live our lives so differently. So I think, initially she comes across like very cute, quiet girl and things, but I think, without giving it away, like you come to find out.
She's got her own character, basically.
Yeah.
Like, she's not just
this
a puppet.
Yeah.
Or
this nodding head, sort of beautiful, good
Right,
girl.
Well, I was thinking on the way here, I was like, because I know that that's the premise of the film, but like I was probably like, could I have an arranged marriage? Could I ever go through that? And like, honestly, truthfully, maybe it's our generation, I don't know, but me as a person, I absolutely know I couldn't do it. Like, I'm a freak. Like, I will freak out if I don't know the person. But nowadays they do it in a way that like you kind of get introduced and you can kind of like make your own decisions.
That's what I mean.
Right?
That's why this film's very important, because nowadays, where we are now, 2023, in regards to relationships, they're so disposable because of Tinder, because of Muzmatch, because of all these apps, Instagram. You'll meet with someone electronically, you'll meet up with them, you like them, whatever. You'll go away your separate lives. You might not ever see them again.
Yeah.
But the old ways of like hooking someone up like that through arranged and assisted marriage, there was no technology involved as much. So you might send an email, you might have had a webcam chat back in the day, and then you decide, this is the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with.
Yeah.
So there is something sweet and nice about it that I feel like nowadays people could learn something
Absolutely,
from.
yeah.
So don't like push it away too much is what I'm saying.
I think, do you know what it is? I'm like a massive a fan of the show Married at First Sight, and like you meet at the altar and I'm just like, what would I do? No.
Oh, sorry.
I'm saying I'm a fan of it,
okay.
and I'm just saying, like, if that was me, I don't know how I would react. Like you'd have to kind of, obviously you have to get to know the person. And that's the thing with assisted marriages. It's really good because you can kind of gauge like, okay, is this the sort of person I want to be with? But you don't know anything until like you're actually with the person, living with them, like months and months and months down the line. You're learning about this person, right? And some people are like, I know people who've had arranged marriages and they've gone on like 30 plus years and they're absolutely happily married. But then different marriages,
they don't work.
They don't. They do not work at all. So there's
no like with that type of thing. It's not. I don't think it's that logical. Like you can't make a decision from your head to think this is the right thing to do and it's gonna work. Like I think it's blurred lines.
Yeah.
Like you have to take a risk.
Yeah.
And you have to go for
life.
it. If it goes through and it becomes the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, amazing. So good for you. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. You know.
Then it doesn't. That's it. But I'm excited to see the film. It's out February
24th.
There we go.
In UK cinemas. Yeah, we got the premiere on Monday. Getting ready for that. Yeah, Leicester Square, which is going to be really good.
Can you say who you're wearing? What are you doing?
Who am I wearing? Well, is that what it's become now? Like, what if I say I'm not wearing a big brand? Then,
that's
then
perfect. Absolutely, man. Do your thing.
I'm wearing no one.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love that.
It's actually not a big brand. It just looks really nice.
Yeah, that's it. As long as it looks nice, that's all we care
All that
about.
matters, right? Yeah.
No, I didn't say it for like, who's the brand or like big or anything like that. But I am like very interested, I think, in people's like fashion style and things, especially on
But
like
also
red
like it's a
carpets.
big deal for you. Maybe that's why we feel it.
Maybe
It's like,
we're gonna go
like,
with a South Asian look. Maybe with like a Pakistani kameez or no.
Yeah, it could be.
Kameez. Yeah.
Shalwar kameez. It could be a shalwar kameez.
So yeah, maybe you would have rocked up in that, or I don't know, maybe got friends who are cool designers. Shout them out. That was where I was going with it.
Okay.
But,
I got a little outfit put together. I'm excited. I'm ready.
So is this like your first premiere then?
Yeah, I've not done any of that stuff in my career yet before. I've been part of a lot of projects and films, short films, feature films, but I've not like walked down a carpet and like done interviews about anything like that.
So it's going to be an experience. That's
absolutely, yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it, man. I still feel like there's a responsibility there as well. Do you know what I mean? I might enjoy it, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be lit. We got an after party afterwards. But I still want to just make sure everything's done like in the right way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. You're
Representing.
Yeah,
for sure.
And it's your first.
First of many.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah, hopefully so. But yeah, 24th of February, UK cinemas comes out, definitely. And all I'd say is I tell people to like try watch it with like someone you love. I know it sounds corny, it's all cheesy, arty-farty, but it's a romantic comedy.
And I'm sure it would make for such great conversation after as well.
100%.
So yeah, absolutely.
I saw it with my mum, and I would say like happily go watch it with a relative, because again there is that generational sort of story there with Kaz like feeling like he's has to be really dutiful towards his family, because I think generations before us, I think that's all they ever knew. I've said it a few times on the podcast, but there is this real big sense of duty within like South Asian culture.
Yeah.
I think lots of different cultures actually, like,
why is that? That's interesting, that duty thing. Like, like even me, like talking about the premiere and stuff, and I'm saying, oh, like I have a responsibility. It's like, bro, you're going to a premiere for your film. What are you talking about? Why do I feel so dutiful? Like, I have to make sure everything is done right.
Yeah.
Where's that
reflection.
I think that's like instilled in us. But I feel like when you said that, I was hearing, I feel like I have a duty or responsibility towards it because of maybe how special the film is to you and how much you want to convey. That's what I was hearing.
It does, 100%. Say if it was a film, not in a disrespectful way, but say if it was like a Marvel or like a DC film that gets churned out all the time, part of this machine, there might not be that sensitivity there with it. But because it's about British Pakistani families, and I got the call up to represent like younger, like British Asian men,
and that's where you feel like your sense of duty and responsibility comes.
I think that's probably where it comes from. So I guess it's a lot of people probably do have that as well.
I mean, people are just looking up to you, man. Like, you have gained so much respect from loads of young people of our generation, younger generations. So like, don't feel, I want to just give you that, don't feel the pressure, because you're doing everything right.
Yeah. No, 100%. But it's just like, you want to make sure that you carry on doing what you've set out to do.
Yeah.
Because so many times we hear about stories about, that's why they say to some people like, never meet your heroes or never meet people who you look up to, because you'll meet them and you'll be heavily disappointed, because everyone's human at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Human beings make mistakes, human beings mess up, like, and that could happen later down the line. I don't know. Obviously you don't want it to, but just keep it moving.
Yeah. I really like what you said about stories and doing what you want to do, because I think you're authentically someone who does do what you want to do all the time, and I think that's so prominent in your documentary film about finding your dad, and so many questions that come from that. Because I'm watching this film, what's love got to do with it? And I'm questioning myself so much in this podcast.
It's the right title. You're good.
Like every little thing I'm saying, I'm like, wait, can I trust myself?
You're good, man.
It's the cameras.
So yeah, watching that sort of family representation of life, and then coming back and thinking about your documentary and that real sense of that family life. I mean, not that isn't a good representation in the film, but we get to see you interact with your grandmother, your cousins, and it's a different take on it, but I think amazing that you did that. And the biggest thing I have to say is your bravery during all of that, the number one thing I thought about is how private or how much we're told about not airing your dirty laundry if you're South Asian. Don't let anyone else know. And you never talk about those things. And actually, I think the reason we created this podcast actually is like we need to, because I don't understand half the things that we're doing, why we're doing them, what's happening.
Absolutely.
And I think, one, you're so brave for putting so much of your personal life, your thoughts, your feelings out there with this documentary.
Yeah, man, that was like, even to this day, like I've grown up in I think like every Asian person has, where you don't talk about things that are going on internally outside. But it's different though, because if you do not know the answer to something and you need to really find it out due to your cognition of your brain, you will speak about that, because that's got to do with your existence at the end of the day. So had I not done that, I'd be a very confused human being right now, Like I'd be coming and doing this podcast, but I wouldn't really know who my father is or where I come from. At least I've been able to kind of tackle that side of my life and be able to come to terms with, okay, at least I know who he is now. I've met him. We might not speak every day, but I've kind of...
You've made that connection.
Yeah. And settled the demons that I might have had like in my own brain.
Absolutely.
And this is the most important thing, if anyone listens, and they've got something that they keep thinking about, that they know they're thinking about, that's bothering them. For you to gain clarity and move forward, you need to discuss that and let it out in like a cathartic way.
Absolutely.
Be that a bad relationship, be that a lack of finances, not doing the right thing in your career, because these are all human things that affect human beings, right? Like whatever it is, find a way of coping with it, speaking about it, dealing with it. That way it can go and something new can come in. Because it helped me like a lot. So if anyone else does it, they can do the same thing. But
that's what was so inspirational about it. Again, coming back to this, I feel like, I don't know if it's just us or like the culture, families, whatever it is, but I grew up with a sense of very much don't talk about these things. Don't ask questions. That's from a very young age.
We were sort of told to like almost lie in a way as well. Like we were always, our dad wasn't around. So we would like, when we would go to family events, it would be like, oh, where's your dad? Oh yeah, he's at work. Everyone knew that was a bullshit lie. But we'd just, we'd have to just keep the lie going just so that people...
So you see me as a child. So if I got told to do that, I'd go to the family gathering as a child. They'll be like, oh, where's your dad? I'll be like, oh, I haven't got a clue. What do you know about him? I was the child that never shut up. I would always ask.
Kind of Nicky as well, to be fair.
It's good. It explains why you're doing what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you speak and you want to gain things from the world. I'm like that as well. But there's nothing wrong with a child being like that. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I can't wait to have kids because I want him to be the most talkative chatterbox in the entire world. Because I'm not going to be that person to be like, shh, don't talk about it. What's there to hide, bro?
Yeah.
Like, if you want to speak your mind, you speak it.
Yeah. Word.
Because that's the generation that we now live in. It's different to how things were back then.
Yeah.
We need to change it up.
Absolutely. And like, anyway, it's just a testament to you. Like that was an amazing documentary. And like, I'm guessing like, I think it's a big thing as well to do something so big in your life and then have that recorded on TV. But at the same time, it's just like a beautiful thing that you can look back on and just like be proud of that you've done and followed your heart. And,
100%.
And absolutely got the result at the end. Like you said.
Yeah. Hopefully be able to play it to my kids one day.
Yeah. How special is that?
That's amazing. Yeah. It's just not a story. It's not just a story. It's actually there, like done. And the process as well was just,
It was hard. It was long. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, it looks like it was all good or whatever. But
no, absolutely. I wouldn't think it was like a walk in the park. Mate, I was crying in the documentary watching it. So yeah.
Yeah, it was difficult, but definitely glad I'd done it because I feel like there's nothing. I personally think, anyway, there's nothing now that's gonna be as challenging as that was from a personal and professional point of view in my life. Like audition for a film role, cool. That's acting. We can get to that. We can break down characters, break down scenes and do that, like present another documentary. But it's not going to be as hard as going over like halfway across the world and being rejected by your biological father. So
that scene killed me. That
really. But what I'm trying to say is that it's never going to be as difficult as that now. So what is the challenge now? There aren't, I don't personally feel there are a lot of challenges in that sense. So sometimes do the hard work first to then reap the rewards later down the line.
And what were you, mid-20s when you did that?
25, yeah. 25, yeah.
Because I feel like I started to have a lot of questions around that. That's how the podcast was born.
Quarter-life crisis, that is.
The midlife crisis. Yeah. You got all these questions suddenly. And again, I suppose identity crisis in the way of like, where do I come from?
Definitely.
Like, who am I sort of thing. I think us, it was like, I've been acting so British all my life, but I'm really Indian. Like, who am I sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I wonder actually from that experience, do you feel like you have like a sense of peace now through that journey?
I think I idolize that, and I feel like if I do this, I will get that. And then what I've realized now, like 5 years after doing it, yeah, I'm glad I've done it. I'm glad I've had the mental clarity with like my relationship with my dad and not being confused about it. And yeah, it definitely has brought some peace, but it wasn't like this thing that I thought it was gonna be. I thought I'm gonna make this doc. Everything's going to be romanticized. My dad's going to embrace me. We're going to hug. We're going to now have a beautiful relationship afterwards. I'm going to go to Pakistan and see him every year. It hasn't turned to that. But like he rings me, which I've never seen dad like ring me on my phone for like ever, innit? So the fact that I got that, I'm like, okay, cool. At least I got that. And if I want to go out there, I can book a flight and go and stay there for like a week or two, which I never had the ability to do beforehand. And when I have kids, I can turn around to them and say, this was your granddad. So yeah, it's brought things that I can now do that I never done beforehand, which is helpful,
Yeah, because I just think I've met in this like time of life where I'm like approaching my 30s. I feel like I'm talking to a lot of friends or men that I meet, and there seems to be this theme, like if they don't have their dad in their life, it's like, not the end of the world, but there is this big hold over them almost about who they are. Like, do they understand everything? Or how can I be a family man? Like, I've never had a dad in my life, so how can I do that? As everyone's starting to sort of like get married and, you know, find relationships and settle down and maybe have kids and things. I feel like that topic of conversation is happening a lot with people I know. But then I feel like there's equally lots of women who don't have that father figure in their life. And then I don't ever hear them really like say that though, about not having their dad or even their mom necessarily in their life per se.
What, as in you don't hear them talking about it?
Or just making the same comments of like, I can't have a family, like I can't do these things. Like,
it comes out in different ways though, innit? Like, you know, a lot of girls say they have daddy issues and it comes out in different ways. I don't think we realise as humans what a parent means to us or what they would do to us and how they influence us. Like, where do we get our influence then from then if it's not from our family? We're getting it from external factors, right? So
and where I'm alluding with that point is I wanted to talk about the other people that were in your life, and you know, even though your dad was missing for so long and you didn't have that relationship there, but you did have your mom, you had your grandmother and your cousins.
I've never felt like I've been at a shortage in my family life at all. My childhood was one where I'd be around so many people, aunties, uncles, friends or family, my mom, grandmother, her children, cousins. It was always stuff happening. Like, so I never ever felt like I didn't belong anywhere because I was part of a very big like South Asian family, and they were loud and proud about who they were. So Eid would happen, everybody would wear the bright colours, people would do a one dish party where everyone like cooks one dish and everyone eats all this food. Like, we'd go down to Tooting and get like umbala or puja, bring it back to the house, we'd eat it, we'd have faluda. It's like, this is my existence. It's like, that's my childhood. Like, I remember all of these things. So it's never been, I've never been at a shortage. In fact, I think I've been at an advantage being an only child as well. When you don't have like your own siblings or whatever, you crave relationships from other people. So I had like a lot of cousins, a lot of family members just around all the time. Uncles and aunties that done absolutely everything, which I need to remember and thank them for like in my adult life. Because sometimes I get so like head driven on my career that I forget about like sending them as much love as I should. But yeah, we got like a family and friend screening for the film happening in like 2 weeks, which I'll be able to like do all of that with. So yeah, hopefully it should be all right.
That's so lovely. They'll be so proud of you. And
yeah, no, they definitely are. They are already.
And you were just a kid as well. Like we forget in it. We're like, sometimes I look back and I'm like, oh, like I feel this type of way for the old me, and just like, oh, like you were going through so much and you didn't even know it at the time. I'm sure that they knew. Like you were just,
you're a child. Yeah.
You were just a child, and your love.
It's interesting what you say at 25, because I think when you were talking about like midlife crisis, I think that's a very pivotal age for human beings, because 25 is like, I feel like the brain goes through like a transformation at that age, and it just, whatever you're doing at that point in your life is quite important, I believe, just from observing like human beings and stuff. So yeah, it's interesting.
Can we talk about your love life?
Oh, you want to do that?
A little hairy one.
Is that
but you're in this amazing new film. It's about marriages and stuff, and I want to know, like, okay, firstly, what's your opinion on the whole assist? I mean, we've spoken about that, but what's...
Yeah, go for it. Let's go for it.
Yeah.
No hiding in a podcast, man.
I love that.
So, single, taken, shadi, maybe. What's going on?
Single, taken, shadi, maybe. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm taken right now.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in a relationship. I've been in a relationship for the last 2 years.
Oh, congratulations.
Lovely.
Yeah, thank you. Not married yet. Family are like trying to...
So shadi, maybe.
Yeah, they're trying to tell me like, come on, you have to do things properly, and I'm understanding that, and I'm like, yeah, I get it. Culturally as well, it's mad important. But I'm just like, I don't want to rush, because I'm scared that I'd hate rushing anything.
Yeah,
you rush things and then you get excited and then you do things and then
it's a big decision, isn't it?
That's what I mean. And then it goes left, and then you're like, well, why did I rush everything?
I think also that's the thing with a lot of marriages or families being involved as well. Like they just want you to be married and start your life and start your family. But
this is an issue, like, you know. Like I'll be so real with this right now. Yeah, back in the day, all people care about is if you're married or not married. But they do not care whether you're in a happy, stable, loving relationship. Because I would prefer being in a happy, stable, loving relationship in comparison to being miserable, unhappy, and not in a stable relationship, but I'm married. It's a problem we got.
Yeah,
I swear to God, and it's the whole community sometimes, where it's like, my daughter just needs to be married for the sake of being married.
Yeah,
But no matter who she's married to. She could be married to a flipping narcissistic domestic abuser, but she's married.
But this is the thing, it's not even like the family necessarily, like it's their mentality, but it's also about like, oh, what will they think? What will they think that you're not married? And that's the thing that pisses me off the absolute most. It's like, it's not even for your family, it's to show other people like, look at us. But really and truly, I think one thing we can take away from our generation is that like, I think we are starting to like really take a step back, even like, you know, living with someone before you get married as well. To me, that's a massive thing.
But that should be normalized.
Right.
That's not even normal. Like as a Muslim, like people are gonna listen to this and be like, "Oh, bro, you're smoking absolute trees." Like that is sex before marriage is wrong, bro. Like you can't live with your partner without getting married. And this is where I think my British side comes out and questions my religious, like cultural side. And I'm in this dichotomy of like, bruv, I got my religion telling me to do this one thing. I got my British identity as a man telling me to do this thing. Where do I go? And it's like, there is no right or wrong answer, innit?
Yeah.
But I just personally think that having stability, being happy, and like being in a nurturing, good relationship is far more important than putting on a show and saying, "Hey, everyone, I'm married now. Come to my wedding and look how happy I am."
Yeah.
So is it like aunties and stuff that you're pressured more by then? Because again, I'm coming back, you know, think about your documentary and your parents' story and things like that. Like, is your mum like, yeah, get married? Or is she like really understanding from her own experience of like, yeah, take your time?
My mum is a sweetheart. Like, she don't tell me what to do or pressurize me in any capacity. But her sisters...
Yeah, the aunties.
It's always the aunties.
Always the aunties.
I got one auntie that's literally even to this day. So like, nikah? When is nikah? I'm like, you are such a character, man. I swear to God. But yeah, but I hear it. Before I used to be against it a lot. I'd be like, just stop asking, get off my back.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I'm like, you know, and I think it's because I'm maturing and I'm getting older. I'm like, it makes sense what they're saying because they've done it. They understand how important it is. So now my response to her is like, yeah, in due time, still taking it slow, Still trying to see how it goes.
Yeah, perfect answer, isn't it?
Not to them though. For us, yeah.
That is just like you're talking bakwas.
No, you need to do it right now.
Right this very second. And I genuinely don't think that's the right thing to do.
They could organise the nikah that quickly as well, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing.
It's true.
They could, so
I get it, but it's like I'm still in a place where I'm trying to take as long as I can. Because if you're doing that, your intention should be, this is for the long term, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So take your time with it and don't like rush it in any way.
Yeah. And so I'm assuming yours is a love.
Yeah.
It's a love relationship.
Yeah,
this
it
isn't,
is.
no
Not
one's
arranged.
put 2 and 2 together.
Not arranged,
Lovely.
not set up by anyone. Literally vibed, clicked. Yeah.
Vibes. Yeah.
Literally, yeah. In a good way, like in a helpful way. And I think that's important. Because if you get an arranged and you get assisted and you don't like the person, then what happens is you grow up and you hold resentment for your family members that told you to do that. But I've always put pressure on myself to make my own decisions. Because if anything messes up, who's to blame?
Then
Yeah.
Me,
It's on
innit?
you.
So, and I'd prefer that than being like, Mum, you told me to marry her, so I married her, and now I'm unhappy at you and her because I don't like both of you.
that's so much generational trauma you just uncovered there. Yeah, that's what I feel like a lot of what you've just said is like a lot of what our generations before us have maybe experienced.
And this is not to have a go at them people because they might not have known what they were doing at the time, but it's more of a thing where like if you do make a decision like that, you just gotta, I don't know, man, you just gotta soldier that decision through. Because it's a big one. It's a
huge one, yeah. That's what I'm telling you, yeah. Like I can't do married at first sight and shit like that. Like you literally, I need to know my guy for a long time.
Agreed, man. Because that's a partnership at the end of the day.
Exactly, and it's like building from friendship, love, like, and building your future together. So absolutely, and I commend that. So good on you for challenging your own family, I guess. Like, or like,
I feel like in 2023 we shouldn't have to do that. Like it should be normal.
You would think, isn't
But
it?
we still, I feel like there is still.
I think there's a lot of people that do make their own decisions. They're just not doing it in front of their family, or like they're like living a double lie. Basically, I know a fair few people that are doing that. Let me tell you, and it's crazy to see that you are living one life and doing madness, and then going home and acting like you're a completely different person. It's sad because it's kind of like you're not authentic self. Whereas like you are being authentic because you're like, you know what, like let me chill out. Like this is my life. You know the girl. It's gonna happen.
I'm not doing no double life thing.
There you go.
But let me tell you, through acting and playing different characters for the last 5-10 years, I do not want to be doing that in my normal everyday.
No.
But I'm telling you, that's what I've learned through reading material and acting as different characters. That then I apply that to my real life, and I'm like, I don't want to be coming home and doing a madness somewhere the night before and then coming and putting on another. I can do it as a lot of people do it, but I don't want to do that because I've done
That's
that.
headache also.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If you're living that life, man, it's fix up, bro, because that it's not good for your brain. I'll tell you that now. It's not helpful for it, man. It will lead to confusion. And and it will trickle down to your other relationships with your best friend, with your mum, with your dad, because you'll start now not trusting them because you don't trust yourself.
Yeah. Literally I was about to say, took the words right out of my mouth.
It's dangerous. I swear down. It's so dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, stay blessed, and we wish you all the best.
I will stay blessed.
But yeah, can we talk about what's next for you? Because this is a big deal. First UK premiere, amazing. We might even go international, man.
Yeah.
So who knows one day? You know what I mean?
It's true. After when this podcast comes out, it might be.
That's it.
It's true.
So what's next for you, Mim?
So I really, after the back of this, I really do want to do more acting work. I want to be sent scripts and try and align myself to good projects. I've got an independent feature film coming out called Die Before You Die. Nice. Which looks at morality, and spiritual, religious stuff. It's a really good film. British indie as well, so it's not as high budget as this one. What else? I've done a short film that looks at the NHS during the pandemic, which is interesting. I learned a lot on that. That comes out. I've made a spoken word EP, which which is like a 7-track audio project, which I don't know when it's coming, but it's
When the time is right.
yeah, when it feels right to release it and stuff. I'm gonna go forward with that, and then yeah, man, just doing a lot of writing, like writing my screenplays, trying to get them commissioned to make my own films. I'm just inspired by Jemima and what she's been able to do with this project. That I want to be able to replicate that in the next 5 to 10 years, hopefully.
No, and you definitely will. You definitely will. I think I can't reiterate enough about. I personally think like you're a bit of a trailblazer within the South Asian community, but across like media, because of everything I've already said about you just staying true to yourself, your thoughts, you put them into a documentary or a spoken word EP or something. Like it doesn't just stay with you. And I think what's so beautiful about who you are as a person and in this industry is like, I want to share, I want to teach, I want to like learn from everyone else. And I think you're doing it in such an incredible way through all the different mediums. And yeah, just really excited to see everything that you're doing.
I appreciate that. Genuinely, I think now I think I'm stepping into a place now where I'm feeling more understood than I have ever before. And I think it just took like time for people to kind of understand, like, who's this guy? Like, what's his thing? Like, what's he trying to do? Is he in it to make money? Is it fame? Is it girl? Like, what is it?
Right.
I swear down, it's just about sharing like thoughts and hoping that they can improve like someone's reality. Like literally at the end of the day, that's all it is. But yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's been a really good podcast.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I'm so happy.
It's been sick. I'm not gonna lie.
This one getting gassed. No, we are so gassed and so glad you come on, because
it feels normal because I see you out and about.
And you still will.
And you still will. Yeah, I've seen you at screenings, the VNA, all of these places.
Yeah,
where it just seems like, yeah, I like that. Like when you're in normal life, and you see people, and then you have a conversation with them, and it's recorded. Yeah. And people's masks might come out. Yeah. But it don't feel like none of that.
Oh, it's just thank you.
Good vibes.
Oh. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll stay in contact, Obs.
And hopefully, you'd want to come back maybe in the future.
Absolutely, 100%. And just remember, What's Love Got to Do with It comes out
February 24th.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Take everyone. But until next time.
Yeah, until next time.
It's been your girl, Nikita.
It's been your girl, Tash.
And my name is Mim Shaikh.
And thank you for joining us on our first recorded podcast, like camera recorded podcast, by the way.
Be ready.
That's it.
Yeah.
Sick, man.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us and for listening to Two Chickpeas in a Podcast.